Today, we're going to study environment part 1. And what are we going to study in this? We will understand the concept of business environment and its features, and also the importance of business environment. So let us study what is business environment. What do you understand by environment? So environment is so big, it encompasses the business from everywhere. So from the entire universe, if you take out your own business, then everything else is environment. This is how important business environment is. Now let's do the features. Concept of business environment actually means the meaning and the features. So features are very much a part of your syllabus. So there are 7 features. Let us do them one by one. Totality of external forces. Now in the environment, there are so many forces acting on the business, and it is the sum total of all these forces together that counts. So all the forces that act on the business in totality, they affect the business. For example, the demand for AC is rising. People are buying air conditioners these days. Why? What is the reason? Is it because it's become hot, or is it because people have got more money? Or is it because maintaining a cooler is a little more difficult than an AC? So there are so many reasons, and any one of them could impact more. So as a result, it is totality of all these forces, not just any one particular point in the environment, it's all together. Then specific and general forces. Now the environment has got specific forces and general forces both. Specific means specific to your business, like for example your competitors, your customers, your suppliers, etc. And they directly affect the business. Now general forces are those which are common to all the business, like for example the government increases the tax, or the technological upgradation in the country, or any legal laws that have been made. All these affect everybody. So these general forces affect the business indirectly. So therefore we can say that both specific and general forces are a part of business environment. Then come to interrelatedness. All these forces that are there in the environment, they're all interrelated. They're not separate. You cannot separate them. Just like the links in a chain, they're all interrelated. And for example, let's take one example, that because people have now become very health conscious, they become aware of their health, their lifespan has increased. So as a result, what has happened? A number of things have happened. Now they've started going to the gym, they've started drinking bottled water, they've started having fat-free oil, then health resort, demand for health resort has also increased. So number of things. So all of them are related to each other, and they are all a part of the environment. Then dynamic. Business environment is very dynamic. It keeps on changing, and not only changing, it is changing at a very fast pace. So this affects the businessman, and shift in the consumer preference or competition. These things are taking place so fast that the businessman has to keep an eye on the environment. And then uncertainty. The future is not certain at all, and it is very difficult to predict the future. You don't know what the future has in store for you. Like for example, information and technology. Today you buy a mobile, tomorrow it becomes outdated. This is from the consumer point of view. Consumer may carry on with the same mobile, but what about the businessman who has not been able to sell the old model, and the new model has come into the market? It will really affect him. Similarly, the fashion industry. The fashion keeps on changing very fast. So all this affects the businessman, and this is a part of business environment, uncertainty. And then complexity. The business environment has got so many small factors which affect the businessman, and therefore it is very complex. It is not easy to understand in one go. It is just like the zigzag puzzle. So in a puzzle, there's so many pieces, and you have to try and fit each one of them to understand. It is not everybody's cup of tea. It will be very difficult to understand. So therefore, they say that it is relatively easier to understand in parts, but difficult to grasp in totality. Each part, yes, this puzzle will fit in there. It looks like it's going to fit there. But when you put the entire picture together, you get lost somewhere. The next feature is relativity. So business environment is a relative concept. Why? Because In different countries, the political environment is different, and business environment depends upon a number of factors. So the political condition in our country may be different from that of another country. And therefore, what is popular in our country, what can be sold in our country may not necessarily be sold there. For example, demand for sarees in India is very high, but demand for sari in France is negligible. So if your sarees are sold like hotcake in India, doesn't mean that they will sell like that elsewhere also. So therefore, we say that the business environment is relative. Now that brings us to the importance of business environment. And we have got 6 points of importance. If you have ever traveled in Shatabdi or in any other train, you will see that businessmen are reading that pink paper, Economic Times or Financial Times, because they want to keep themselves abreast of what's happening. They want to keep themselves updated. They want to be aware of what's happening in the environment. Why? Because environment has got a lot of importance. Let's start with the first one. It enables the firm to identify opportunities and getting the first mover advantage. Now, when you study the environment, you are better prepared to face it. And whatever opportunity is there, you're able to tap it. You should be the first one to tap that opportunity so that you become a leader. Now, what is opportunity? Opportunity are the positive trends that change the firm's performance. Like, for example, let me take the case of Maruti Udyog Limited. When Maruti launched the small car, in the small car segment, everybody said it's such a small car, one hit from a truck and it will collapse. So people did not have any faith in that, but they stuck to their guns and they launched the car. And at one point of time, Maruti had 90% of the market. Why? Because they took the first mover advantage. They exploited the situation and they realized that in India, there's a huge demand for the middle class population who are crazy about mileage. They want a family car because of the rising price of petroleum. So they made this small car for the needs of the middle class, and it was a hit. So if you take the first mover advantage, then you get all the benefits. But for that, you need to study the environment. Nestle launched Maggi. That is yet another example of how instant noodles hit the Indian market and it became instant success. So the first advantage of studying the environment is that they help you to identify the opportunity and getting the first mover advantage. Then it helps the firm to identify threat and early warning signal. Now in the environment, if there's opportunity, there'll be threat also. Threat is also lurking somewhere nearby, hiding from you, but you need to identify what threat is there and take enough measures and sufficient measures to be able to overcome it. Now, what exactly do we mean by threat? Threat means those changes that may happen in the environment because of which your performance, the performance of your business may be affected. So the threat acts as a warning signal. Like for example, if multinationals are entering the market, then you see that what product are you making? Are they going to enter into your domain also? But if they're going to come up with new substitutes regarding the product that you are making, then that is a warning signal. Immediately the firm should be on red alert and they should start finding out ways of how to cope with it. For example, they can improve their quality of product or reduce the cost or some such thing. Quite some time back, there was tsunami in Indonesia. It took 1.5 hours for it to reach India, South India. And that 1.5 hours that it took was ample time to prepare the people who were on the beaches at that time to evacuate. But our disaster management was in disaster itself, and therefore the people were not warned. And those people who were on the beaches at that particular time, they were not told about the threat that was lurking around. They were clicking selfies with those waves that were rising 8 feet high in the air or 10 feet high in the air, and they were awestruck. Oh, 10 feet high wave, and with the wave in the background, they were clicking their selfies, and when those waves fell on them, they realized something is terribly wrong. And those people who were very near the beaches, they got swept into the ocean. They never made it. The fishermen never made it back. So if there's any threat and you are getting, environment is giving you enough warning signal, you should listen to it and act accordingly. Then you can save your business. So the second importance of environment is it helps the firm to identify threat and early warning signal. Then helps in tapping useful resources. Now, nobody knows where there's gold, where there's coal, where there's oil. Nobody knew it earlier till they found it out. So you have to do a little bit of digging, have to study the environment a little bit. Then you will get all the resources that are hidden. So environment actually has a lot of resources for us. There's so many inputs that you could use, like for example, finance, raw material, power, and make products, output from it, and supply it to the society. Outputs like goods and services, and paying tax on time, etc. So input can be converted into output with the help of tapping useful resources that can be provided by the environment. Quite some time back, a person went to Solon and he realized that in Solon, the environment is very conducive for growing mushroom. Mushroom needs a slight slope so that the water doesn't stand, and it needs humidity in the air. And he realized that Solon has both slope as well as humidity. So he brought mushroom and he started growing it. And what is called mushroom growth, the mushroom grew like anything, like wildfire. It spread so much that today Solon is exporting mushrooms. So this is what happens when you tap the useful resources. And to tap the useful resources, you have to scan the environment. You have to see, and then you have to put in your inputs like raw material, labor, arrange all that, and then produce output. And then it helps in coping with rapid changes. Changes are taking place at a very fast pace. Very fast pace. Alarmingly, they're so fast, it's so alarming that the change is very good. Everybody likes change. Change should be there. But the pace of change is very alarming. Like, for example, turbulent market conditions, less brand loyalties, demanding customers, more demanding customers. All these changes are taking place very rapidly. And therefore, unless the businessman studies the environment, he is not in touch with what changes are taking place. He has to prepare himself for the changes that are going to take place. And therefore, the manager should examine the environment and develop suitable course of action. Then helps in assisting in planning and policy formulation. Now, when you study the environment, you come to know the opportunities that are available for you, the threats that are lurking around, and therefore this helps you to decide about the future course of action. And with this, they're able to tackle the competition or the uncertainty that is there in the market in a much better way. Suppose you're planning to go to Ooty during the summer holidays. Now, you do not check the weather conditions there. You don't study the environment. You straight away think it's going to be summer. I'm going in the summer. It's going to be summer. So you pack your summer clothes. But there it is very cold because it's a hill station. And there were whatever time and money that you had, you spend it in shopping for clothes and money spent on that. Alternatively, if you think, no, it's a hill station, it's going to be very cold out there, and you carry all woolens with you, and it is very hot because it's in South India. So you cannot wear winter clothes during summer. So you have to spend your time and money buying summer clothes for yourself. So if you do not study the environment, you cannot plan properly. So with the help of study of environment, you can plan for the future and make policies for the future better. And then helps in improving performance. So when you have planned, you have analyzed the environment, then your performance automatically becomes better, because the managers, they keep on constantly monitoring the environment to see whatever changes are taking place, and they make their policies and plans according to that. So therefore, not only are they able to succeed today, but also in the long run. Like, for example, we are making plans for the board exams. We are preparing for the board exams. So we are going to study the environment. We are doing case studies. We are doing NCERT thoroughly. Each and everything we are doing. We are going to do 1 markers also. So all that is our preparation after studying the environment, what is needed. And therefore your performance is definitely going to be good. So this is another importance of environment, is that it helps in improving performance. Now with that, let us go to the case studies. Yes, again, identify and state the feature of the concept discussed in the above paragraph. Okay, let us look for the feature. There's just one feature they're asking. Konak Limited is an electric goods manufacturing enterprise situated in Shivpuri, Madhya Pradesh. It is earning very low revenue in comparison to a competing electronics goods manufacturing enterprise, Nova Limited, situated in Mumbai. Okay. Both Nova and Konark's operations affected directly by the investors, customers, competitors, which are unique to their respective locations. In addition to this, individual firms of this field are affected indirectly by factors like the money supply in the economy, composition of families, the technological changes, etc. So identify and state. That means you have to explain also. So I'll give you a moment as always. Yes. I think you've got it correct. Let me show you the answer. So they're talking about those factors that affect directly investors, customers, and even general factors like money supply in the economy, composition of families, etc. And it is specific and general forces. So this is how we do the case studies. And by now, I'm sure you must have got an idea as to how to understand the case study and how to attempt it. That's all in this video. Thank you.